James Galloway here. I'm going to talk about my '65 Mustang that I acquired from my father about 3 years ago now. The car, sort of a short history, he bought it in about 1974. It had come into his wife's wrecking yard, and we lived in California at the time. And the car had been smashed in the rear end. The original owner, his son, was driving it, and it got rear-ended. So my dad picked it up basically for a dime from the wrecking yard, and he was a paint and body guy at the local Ford dealership we lived in Bay Area, San Jose, California. So he picked the car up, and originally it was intended he was going to fix it for his stepdaughter to drive, and she didn't want it for whatever reason. So he fixed it up, and it became his daily driver. So for 20, 30 years, he drove it as it was, and it was basically stock. It came with a 289 automatic transmission, and in around 1997-ish, from what I remember, he decided, I'm going to turn this thing into my show car. He had a bunch of other cars, and he had his own shop at the time. He tore the whole car down, not a frame off or anything like that, but tore the whole car down, lowered it, put in a new engine. It's got a 302, basically stock, no modifications other than dual glass pack. So it sounds pretty good, not terribly loud. But so he fixed it up in '97 and did this paint job to it and lowered it and did the wheels and tires and stuff. The interior's basically stock. And he lived in Southern Oregon at the time when he did that, and it became their show car. They had a bunch of other cars, and they were involved in all the local car clubs in Oregon, Southern Oregon, and it became their show car for probably 15 years, and it won multiple awards, and everyone loved it down there. But he was getting older, and I told him, do not even attempt to sell that car before giving me the opportunity to buy it, because I grew up around this car. I mean, I remember being 8 years old and running my Hot Wheels up and down the body lines, and him stuffing me in the trunk to test the weather seal in the back with a flashlight. But so in like '97, he fixed the car up, and it became the show car. And his wife passed away, I think 3 years ago now. And right before that, he called me up and said, hey kid, it's time to come get the car. So I raised up some money and drove down there and picked up the car. So I've had it again for about 3, almost 4 years now. He passed away about probably almost a year and a half ago now. And ultimately, I feel like I'm just in charge of it now. I'm fixing what I can, and so far all I've done to it is I did a front disc brake kit, replacing a lot of electronics. I've rebuilt the dash, and mostly just keeping it clean and keeping her running. She's running pretty good. And any future modifications, I can't think of anything major at the moment. Otherwise, just keeping her running and enjoying driving it. One thing I'd like to point out, my dad's signature thing on all the cars he built, he would remove the antenna and French it down inside. So here's his signature move, Frenching the antenna. Another modification my dad did, he built a custom cross brace. Normally the Monte Carlo bar would tie the two shock towers together. He took it a step further and built this X brace in here, tying the whole front end together. She goes pretty good. I rebuilt the brake system, and it added front disc and power brakes to it.
You fixed it so it brakes?
Yeah, it brakes. It brakes real good. The only thing really done to the interior, because it's all basically 100% stock, is you put in new carpets and a new headliner. Other than that, this interior, all the pony interior, is 100% stock and original. I did replace this bezel and the glove box bezel just because they were really, really dilapidated. But it's got the original mats, all 4 of them. I do have some aftermarket ones, but these are the original mats. The original shifter, the dash, you can see it's a little bit rusty, and that's one of my next projects is to redo that, but 100% stock. Perfectly set, other 65.